So yeah, we're climbing out of Meadow Canyon now. I'm sure the roads just get smoother from here on out. That was the worst part. I feel like it's gonna get a lot better. They've actually not gotten any better at all. Exactly the same as they were. So today I'm gonna go through the Hanging Gardens in the West Clear Creek Wilderness. I'm gonna tell you how to get there, what to expect when you get there, and give any other tips that I can think of to make your trip safer and more enjoyable. First thing to get out of the way, no permits are required for West Clear Creek, so just plan your trip and head down there. That's all there is to it. So where is it? West Clear Creek is located outside of Camp Verde. You want to take the 260 east out of Camp Verde for about 27 miles. And then just before mile marker 245, you'll see this road on the left. I'll drop coordinates in the comments of the turn off. You turn left here, go through the gate, close the gate behind you. There are a bunch of roads at this point that lead to different campsites in the area. They're fine for a passenger car, but if you want to go any further than this, you're going to need a high clearance four-wheel drive with all-terrain tires. So if you don't have that, this is where you're going to park. Ultimately, your goal is going to be Cache Tank. That's about 5 to 6 miles from the parking area. So if you don't have the four-wheel drive, you're going to have to make this hike. It's going to add 11, 12 miles to your overall hike. The walking itself is on forest roads. A lot of them aren't even marked on the map. There is some elevation gain and loss to it. A lot of it's full sun exposure, so keep that in mind when you go. So there's multiple ways that you can get to Cache Tank from here. We've taken all of the routes that you see here. They're all miserable. Even though it's only a few miles, it takes about an hour and a half to drive. We went down there with a lifted 4Runner, and it took us about an hour and 40 minutes. Now that was taking this route, which, having done the other ones, this is the best of the worst. Again, they're all just miserable, so drive slow, take your time. Bring a spare tire, because I hear a lot of people that get flats when they go on this hike. Once you get to Cache Tank, there's a really nice campsite at the top of the trail. We camped there overnight so we could get an early start in the morning. I highly recommend that you get there early, whether you spend the night or not. You can also camp pretty much anywhere along the roads and at the turnoff right after the 260. The trail itself is about 1.5 miles from Cache Tank down to the Hanging Gardens. There's a 500-foot elevation drop into the canyon. That's one way, so you have to turn around. It's an out and back hike. So overall 3 miles, 500 foot up, 500 foot down. We actually took a canyoneering route going in. We went back up Cache Tank Road, along the power line road to Meadow Canyon. Then we rappelled down Meadow Canyon and came downstream, and then walked about a half mile through Clear Creek, going upstream to the Hanging Gardens and then out. So we've made it to Cache Tank, and this is what we've got to climb out of tomorrow. That's not intimidating at all. So we're back at Meadow Canyon where we dropped off our stuff. We're going to do a technical route down this canyon. It's got 4 rappels, about 2 miles. If you don't want to do that and you just want to hike to the Hanging Gardens, just fast forward to here on the video and just reverse the path that you see, and it'll get you there. I've been in your waters. I came for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other. Now, as far as gear, there are things that you have to have. You have to have quick dry clothes. You have to have a waterproof headlamp. You need to have the appropriate shoes for the conditions that you're watching in the video. And then you need some way to keep all of your stuff dry. Now, what I typically do for a hike like this is I'll take a trash bag or a Ziploc or dry bags or a combination of those, double, triple bag the things that I want to keep dry, and then stick those inside your pack. There's no keeping things out of the water. You're going to be swimming. It's not like you can hold it over your head. You can't count on a floaty because you might tip over. So just know that going in, you have to do a lot of preparation to keep things dry. There are also several things that you don't need to bring, but they'll make your hike a lot easier. The first of those is wetsuits. You're in the water a lot and it's cold, even in the summertime. Waterproof GPS for wayfinding. Water purifier, because you'll probably have a longer day, so if you don't bring enough water, you're in the creek, you can filter it, no need to go down there and run out of water. You want a flotation device. It just makes the long swims actually enjoyable instead of chore. It's also wise to have something to eat. It's good likelihood you're going to be down there longer than you expect. The last couple of things we bring are a first aid kit and a personal locator beacon, just to be on the safe side. Probably the main advice that I can give is just keep in mind it's a long day. People think, oh, it's a mile and a half in, a mile and a half out. I can do that in a couple hours, no big deal. It always takes longer, and I mean hours longer than we expect. Just keep that in mind, especially if you have to park at the 260 and you have that extra 10, 11, 12 miles on the hike. Go in early and bring a headlamp in case you get caught in there after dark, and just be prepared for a longer, more strenuous day than you're expecting. So the hanging garden itself is just this little oasis in the desert. There's the waterfall, there's a good swimming hole, there's a rope swing, there's a campsite down there if you want to spend the night, but not much room. I will say in recent years this place has gotten more popular, so every time we've been down there, there's been someone that was going to camp. Last time there was probably a dozen or more people at the hanging garden itself. So if you're planning to have the place to yourself, you're probably not going to get it. You're going to have to share. So once you've enjoyed the hanging gardens and you're ready to go, turn back the way you came. Now you'll be walking for probably about a quarter of a mile, the typical clear creek. You're in the creek, walking through all these slick boulders. You see a bank show up, get up on the bank, walk on that for a while, repeat over and over and over. Luckily, like I said, it's not very far, so it doesn't take too long before you come up to the white box. Now the white box, the first time we went on for way too long. We were exhausted by the time we got about halfway through it. The next time we went, we were better prepared and we actually enjoyed the swims. We had the flotation devices. It was our favorite part of the hike. The routine of the white box is there will be boulders that you're climbing over, and then there's a swim, and then there's boulders, and then there's a swim, just over and over again. There's two really long swims, a couple 100 yards each. We didn't count the number of swims there are to it. There's probably going to be more than you'd like after a while. There's enough to make it where it gets a little tiresome. Just know on the way out, there's a really long swim. There's a rope swing in there. You can't miss it. There's one more short swim. Go over some boulders. Look for this rock slab on your left, and just past that on canyon right, looking up canyon, is going to be the exit. Now, some dumbass has taken spray paint and spray painted all the rocks and trees to try to mark the exit out. If you ever get the urge to do this, don't do it. It's not helpful. It doesn't practice leave no trace. The worst part about it is when the wayfinding does get a little difficult, Mr. Spray Can didn't spray paint anything. Maybe he's still wandering around up there spraying stuff. But if you came down this way, you should have a good feel for what it takes to get out. I've said it earlier in the video, the climb out is very aggressive, it's very steep, it's loose rock, loose gravel. You just have to take your time, watch your step, and be careful. It's maybe, I don't know, 0.2 of a mile and 500 feet elevation gain, and then you're back up at Cache Tank. If you're lucky, your car's waiting for you at Cache Tank. You get another hour and a half enjoyment on the Clear Creek roads, and then you're back on the 260 and on your way home. If you didn't park there, then if you're really lucky, you get a ride with somebody. Otherwise, again, another 5-6 mile walk out in order to get back to your car by the 260 in the parking area. So that's all there is to it. Hope you found this video helpful. If I think anything that I may have missed, I'll drop information in the comments. I'll put some more GPS points and route information down there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and I'll get back to you and give you any information I have. So thanks for watching. Go check the place out. It's awesome. You'll love it. Happy hiking. Actually didn't shake up the beer too bad. There's a reason why they're made for the street and not for this stuff. Oh, and my wife found bear shit. That's fantastic. Okay, we're gonna document this. Now, if these pillows look different and one looks a little bit worse to sleep on than the other, might have to do with some passive aggressiveness from my wife. Probably for making you come down here to Hanging Gardens, right?
I was not trying to be passive aggressive, I promise.
She lies.